Far from the bustling city, beyond the sleepy town of Blackthorn, there lay a forgotten realm where shadows and whispers danced among the trees. Deep within this realm, in the heart of Blackthorn Forest, the imposing and isolated Hollows estate stood. Once a symbol of wealth and grandeur, the grand mansion had long since fallen into disrepair, its dark history seeping into its very foundations. Whispers of black magic, demonic possessions, and unspeakable horrors haunted the estate, leaving a palpable dread in the air. The sun was setting, casting Carrick shadows across the landscape, when Kendra Morgan first caught wind of the tragic event that had recently unfolded at Hollows estate. As a young and ambitious journalist, Kendra always sought the story that would propel her career to new heights. With a mixture of excitement and trepidation, she sensed that Hollows estate might hold the key to her future success. Kendra was not one to be deterred by superstition and cautionary tales. This determination led her to pack her bags and embark on a journey into the unknown, a journey that would lead her to the very heart of darkness. As Kendra approached the edge of Blackthorn Forest, she couldn't shake the eerie feeling that she was being watched. The gnarled trees seemed to reach out for her, their twisted branches casting sinister shadows across the narrow path that led to the mansion. The oppressive silence was interrupted only by the chilling howls of the wind, as if the very forest itself was warning her to turn back. Despite the fear that threatened to consume her, Kendra pressed on, her eyes fixed on the foreboding silhouette of Hollows estate that loomed in the distance. With a mixture of trepidation and excitement, Kendra finally stood before the imposing gates of Hollows estate, her heart pounding in her chest as she steeled herself for the journey ahead. Upon her arrival at Hollows estate, Kendra couldn't help but recall the ominous warnings from the townspeople. Their fearful faces and hushed voices echoed in her mind, yet she remained resolute in her quest to uncover the truth within the mansion's walls. As she stood at the threshold of the estate, the eerie atmosphere was impossible to ignore. The dark, gnarled trees loomed over the house, their branches casting menacing shadows that seemed to claw at the crumbling facade. The oppressive silence weighed heavily on Kendra's shoulders, broken only by the chilling howls of the wind that seemed to carry with it the whispered cries of the tormented souls who had once called Hollows estate their home. Gathering her courage, Kendra pushed open the heavy, creaking doors and stepped inside the once grand mansion. The moment she crossed the threshold, an icy shiver ran down her spine as though she had stepped into the grasp of the long dead. The air inside was cold and stale, filled with the musty scent of decay and the lingering remnants of terror that clung to every corner. With each hesitant step, the floorboards groaned beneath her feet as if protesting the intrusion of a living soul. The walls were adorned with dusty portraits of the mansion's former inhabitants, their eyes seeming to follow her every move, silently begging for relief from their eternal suffering. As Kendra ventured deeper into the bowels of the house, she couldn't shake the feeling that she was being watched. The sensation grew stronger with every passing moment until it became impossible to ignore. The spirits of Hollows estate were restless, and she could feel their tormented presence pressing in on her from all sides, as if they were trying to communicate some terrible secret that had been locked away within the mansion's walls. Kendra's exploration of the mansion led her to a dimly lit hallway, its walls adorned with moldy wallpaper that seemed to weep over time. Her heart pounded in her chest, each beat a deafening drum in the silence that enveloped her. The air grew colder as she stepped into a room at the end of the hall, the door creaking ominously behind her. Her first encounter came as she cautiously approached a dimly lit, decrepit bathroom. The sound of water dripping echoed through the damp air, and her breath caught in her throat as she beheld the ghostly apparition of a young girl huddled in the corner. It was Emily, her face etched with terror and sadness, her once delicate features marred by the water that had taken her life. Kendra could hear the girl's eternally echoing cries for help, her desperate pleas for salvation from her watery grave. It was as if the darkness was feeding on Emily's anguish, amplifying the dread that permeated the house. Kendra felt a mix of sorrow and fear as she stood before Emily, her heart aching for the young girl whose life had been so brutally cut short. Driven by her journalistic instincts and desire to understand the dark energy haunting the house, she began investigating the circumstances surrounding Emily's tragic death. She scoured the decaying mansion, uncovering long-forgotten journals and letters that hinted at a twisted tale of jealousy, betrayal, and a family torn apart by secrets. As Kendra pieced together the puzzle of Emily's past, the house seemed to come alive around her, intent on sharing its tortured history with her. Shadows danced along the walls, whispers echoed through the empty halls, and the chilling presence of the other spirits grew ever stronger. It became apparent to Kendra that Emily was just one of many souls trapped within the cursed walls of Hollow's estate, each with their own horrifying tale to tell. But with each harrowing encounter, her resolve only grew stronger. She was determined to unravel the twisted threads of the past and bring the truth to light, no matter the cost. As Kendra delved deeper into the haunted halls of Hollow's estate, she found herself standing on the precipice of a terrifying abyss, the dark secrets of the mansion threatening to engulf her. As Kendra continued her perilous journey through the haunted halls of Hollow's estate, she stumbled upon a room that exuded an inexplicable sense of power. The air was thick with the remnants of ancient spells, the walls lined with shelves of arcane tomes and peculiar artifacts. Here she encountered the spirit of Abigail, a powerful witch who had once called the mansion her home. Abigail's ethereal form flickered before Kendra, her once beautiful visage marred by the grief and regret that weighed heavily upon her soul. She spoke to Kendra in a voice that seemed to echo through the ages, her words laced with sorrow as she revealed the terrible truth behind the curse that had befallen Hollow's estate.